Liz was trending heavily one day. I got up and Liz was just trending, trending, trending. I was like, what happened? Come to find out, it's not really Liz as much as it's a group. This is it's all this nefarious conversation about it. This is the thing that was kind of bothering me. All this nefarious statements being thrown around. It's a group. It's dark money. It's a group. I'm like, okay.
Well, let's set it up real quick because we touched on it last week. There was an article written. The title is "A Dark Money Group is Secretly Funding High-Profile Democratic Influencers" by Taylor Lorenz. And the article does have, it mentions, Liz, I think your name is in it once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it mentions a bunch of left-wing creators. So a lot of people are named in it, but it's a whole thing about how, it's a long article, but it's a whole thing about how dark money, quote unquote, is funding left-wing influencers and restricting their content. And they're not allowed to say they're being paid by this group, and et cetera, et cetera. So someone actually, one of our listeners sent us your Instagram response. Shout out to Raphael. And you have you posted more than the one, or there's one where you're sitting in your car where you talked about it?
No, I've only posted one, and then I made a little over 30 different threads posts over the course of a week to
I know, I read them
questions. To answer questions and explain things to people. And then once I did what I needed to do, I let it be, and my attorney and Wired's attorneys can do what they need to do. So that's where we're at.
Now, can you talk about any of this at all, or are you legally obligated to not?
I can simply say that I guess I could just simply say it's very odd because I publicly disclosed being with Chorus several times and at different events and things like that. So that was a surprise. To even see that mentioned. I don't have anyone control my content at all. So that was weird too, because they don't pay for content. So I was very confused by that. The dark money angle, I feel like that's just a lack of people not knowing what 501c4s are. Any 501c4, you don't know who the funder is. And that's everyone from ACLU to whatever. That's just like how the tax law is. So I feel like the article definitely tried to use people's ignorance of tax law and nonprofit law to try to make it seem like something really nefarious when it's just a 501c4 nonprofit. And 1630 funds a fiscal sponsor, not a donor. But even if they were a donor, they've donated to like Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush and Rashida Tlaib. And I don't know how that's so evil.
They spent more money in 2020 than the DNC did on the presidential election. They've been around. 1630's been around since 2009, and they're pretty big.
Also gave $100,000 to Bernie Sanders' nonprofit Our Revolution. I guess I'm trying to figure out like what, the issue is that it's not factual to say that they're the funder because they're not. But even if they were, I'm kind of confused of what the controversy is because of the people they've given to. Maxwell Frost, they've donated to Maxwell Frost, who is the Gen Z congressman. So people were saying I was funded by AIPAC and not allowed to talk about Gaza, which was crazy. Especially because when my attorney counted up all my posts about the genocide in Palestine, they said from June to August, it was 19 posts alone, just in that time frame. And I've also been on Al Jazeera to talk about it and done fundraiser comedy shows for Gaza and, donated families. So what happened is it just kind of spurred into this out of control thing to find places where they thought I was speaking on something or compromising morals for this org to approve my content, but they don't approve anything.
As far as you know.
At all.
As far as you know. This is just as far as you know. Is anybody compromising their content? Because she made it out like this nefarious cabal of, let's not say nefarious. Let's say she kept saying group of creators talking to each other. Group of creators first off, are the creators, y'all got like we're the DNC dark money chat thread going that like we here for these the thread's called 8K. Is that like y'all got that going? The 8K thread.
It's actually really offensive considering that I was on the phone with the DNC some months ago and yelled at them for being anti-Black and saying that I don't like them and I don't appreciate them. So I find it interesting that people say it's DNC when I'm like, the DNC is awful in many ways to especially Black creators. And we just haven't fooled with them. When they had us come to cover the Democratic National Convention, they had no funding. That's why it was crazy to say anybody.
I remember you talk about that. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, creators were crammed 3-4 to a hotel room trying to afford one of those expensive hotels in DC. The cost of just the Ubers to get to the event. They wouldn't let people bring in their own food, even creators who had like diabetes and stuff. They wouldn't let them bring their own food in the venue. They had to buy food from the concession stands. I mean, the DNC is just fucked up. And it's very interesting to me that people immediately tied it to DNC and Democrats. Now, if you want to tie me to some Democrats, I do work with Congressional Black Caucus. I do. I work with all the Black orgs that, you know, where I appreciate being in those spaces. But I think that wasn't as exciting for people because I very publicly disclosed my partnership with like CBC PAC and CBC. So it was like, if they say that, one, it's going to look like they're picking on Black folks, and two, it doesn't make sense since, again, it's very public. But
full disclosure, we're probably going to publish part of this outside the paywall. Just to, is that going to be okay with you?
Unless we're not allowed to.
I'm really proud to be a creator who works with CBC. Okay, yeah, that's not a secret in any form or fashion. And CBC works with a lot of.
Really no, she's not paying us. We're not paying her, nor is she paying us to control our content.
No,
we're just being polite and asking.
And CBC works with Black folks. Like that's the thing is like when I say my politic is Black woman, it's not really anything liberal or leftist or conservative, whatever. It's Black woman. And like one of my good friends, Conscious Lee, he was offered a spot in chorus and he just didn't take it because he was like, don't have time for whatever. But he works with me on CBC stuff and CBC PAC stuff all the time. We covered some events and we're part of some events at Essence. And so he was also kind of confused by the accusations regarding Palestine because there's a lot of very staunchly pro-Palestinian creators such as himself who were either offered and didn't take the spot or were offered and did take the spot. Heidi Torres being another creator who she hates the Democrats. And so very publicly so. It doesn't take long to search on her page and figure that out. So this whole idea about controlling content and towing the party line was very strange. I mean, if you wanted to talk about 1630 Fund and let's talk about where these people get their money from, I think that would be a very valid conversation to have. But the problem is that's not where the conversation went. It went to this one nonprofit, which is really small and not very well funded, especially compared to some of the other nonprofits that do get funding. For example, Move On. Move On gets, they got $250,000 from 1630 Fund last year. And there was one person online who made a post bragging about how she doesn't take dark money, but she worked with Move On. And I was like, hey, Move On actually took $250,000 from 1630 Fund. I thought you should know. And she did not respond to that. And so a lot of people are being very disingenuous and they know how 501c4s and things work.
Were you offered a contract with Chorus? Are you with Chorus?
Yeah. Oh, that was not a secret.
Front page of the website.
Yeah, I'm on the website. It's in my link tree. I've done different events. Yeah, it wasn't a secret, but
did you have to sign a contract?
Yeah. Angela Rye, actually, I was on Native Land podcast last week. She is an attorney. She read the contract and she was like, this does not say what the article claims. So
well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of, it would be unbelievable for me to believe that you as an attorney reading the contract wouldn't be able to suss out what's going on in this contract and then signing a contract.
Yeah.
That's kind of unbelievable to me.
It was very...
And then to have Angela also read it and basically say the same thing, it's kind of unbelievable to me.
Well, I think the article, that's the thing. The article doesn't say like, there's no one in the article who says, I changed my content because they forced me to. The article just says language in the contract tells people they're not allowed to disclose this and tells people that this must be approved and that must be approved, et cetera, et cetera. But there's no like smoking gun moment where a person says, yeah, they forced me to take this post down or this or that. So it's really more about the kind of conceptually what the interpretation of the contract is in this article is that it's telling creators, if you want this money, we have final say over your content, or we're going to restrict it, or you have to run things by us first, et cetera, et cetera. there's no examples given of that happening.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
didn't. So
I was just about to ask you, have they come to you? I see your content. Have they come to you and said, don't talk about this, don't talk about that? Do
They
you
don't
have to run your content by them before you post your content?
No, because they ain't paying for content. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be really blunt right now. Is not $8,000 is not enough.
Yeah.
I just, I'm not, and I'm sick of the pocket watching from people, but I guess I don't know how to say in a polite way that is not what my rate is. And so I'm just so they could not afford that. Just to be blunt. And so I made kind of a tongue-in-cheek post on Threads where I said, I can't believe y'all thought I sold all control of my platform to some white boys for $48,000. Like, y'all really said I ain't worth a damn. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, I know that people don't understand like the creator economy and what things cost, but all I can say is for me, and I can't speak for anybody else but myself, is that is not even close to enough money for me to even agree to anything remotely near that. And there are organizations that have paid me way more that also all like have not had very much say over what I do. And I just found that to be, I guess it's the other part of it that really infuriated me was this idea of, oh, she must be giving all control over everything to justify this amount of money because clearly she's not worth it. And it's like that kind of underlying theme. Like I had some people tell me, you're going to tell me that you're being paid that much money to not give them anything. And I'm like, yeah, because the donors, what they're getting is my face on a website. They get to say, look at this person who grew her platform thanks to us teaching about YouTube and analytics and all of these trainings we did. And wow, don't you want to be just as good? And donors, don't you think this is great and want to donate money? I don't think people understand the concept that there are people who actually just want to fund the space. And this is not as uncommon as people might think it is. And I don't know, really, I mean, like I said, I've explained it time and again and tried to go through the logic of it. I've explained what contract terms mean, that I even gave an example of a 501c4 clause in one of my ACLU contracts, which almost mirrors the one in the Chorus contract. And I'm like, this is very standard language. I don't know. It's been a really hard thing for me to wrap my head around as somebody who tries to approach things with logic and having accurate information and also knowing what I do. And I think the fact that it took off so quickly that people were coming to my page saying, why won't you say genocide? And it was on the video where I literally said the words genocide in Gaza. I don't know how to combat that level of being uninformed, that you would come to a video where I literally say the US mishandled the genocide in Gaza and then demand of me, why won't you call it a genocide? And I'm like, that's such a far detachment from reality that I don't know how to address. And so I've kind of just put my piece out there, not with back and forth videos or going in the comment sections of the people accusing me. I don't do that, but instead just stating my position on my platform and then going from there. And, hopefully Wired and I can come to an amicable resolution. And that's all I will say about that part of it.